Hi, I'm your resident sad sack poet for the day. I came here working on two projects, which I am incredibly thankful for Jentel and everybody here for. I'm from Brooklyn. I spent 37 years, my whole life in Brooklyn, and I write every day, but I couldn't finish anything because in Brooklyn, you live within the same four walls and you do everything in those four walls. So I came out here and I finished two projects in less than a week. I wrote 19 sonnets in a day and a half. Like it was just a floodgate coming here. So I'm really particularly grateful. This I have like I said, I have two projects. The first one is it's a chapbook of persona poems, persona sonnets, as Fleetwood Mac during the Making of Rumors. If you don't know, a persona poem is just a poem where you write as somebody else. And I'm sure the lore is well known by now, but for posterity's sake, everybody in this band was in love and then broke each other's heart and then started fucking each other behind everybody's back and then wrote songs about it and then played it in the same room to each other. It's insane. So I wrote sonnets. I did sonnets just because like I know myself and I would have ended up like digging into certain people and songs and I wanted them to all be uniform. But they're written as American sonnets, like modern American sonnets, which is literally just 14 lines in a volta. There's no scansion, there's no meter, there's none of that. Um, and I would also if you guys could wait till the end to clap, like don't clap in between poems. I think these are going to be like really intense and sad poems, and I think it's important to sit in our discomfort rather than try to break it. And each poem is a song, is about a song off the record or like something from the reissue, like a demo, because there's only 11 songs on the record, and I wanted it to be longer. Or it's like an early take, a demo, or something like that. And the first one is Planet of the Universe. It's a Stevie Nicks song that was cut from the record, and she ended up releasing it 25 years later on her album Trouble in Shangri-La. So it was recorded in 76 and didn't see the light of day until 25 years later. Planet of the Universe. I'm getting the feeling this one is a little too dark for the rest of the crew. Too spiteful, to this, to that. I guess I'll just keep it for myself. Already have a demo down anyway. Hell would freeze over before they'd let me edge another song into the final cut. Too spiteful. Man, Ken has a lot of nerve. He's our producer, not our priest. Give me a break. I swear I learned more the summer of 65 that part-time gig as a lifeguard than any recording studio. The first thing they taught me was how to break the arm of someone I'm trying to rescue. I've been broken into enough. My reflection makes me pick which I like better, the pain or the humiliation. So cruel to make me choose. Look, I get my heart broke, then I break my fast. Pour three, no, fuck it. Pour 4 fingers of vodka in a rocks glass. It's time to rouse the Old Testament in me. No escaping desire to be unmade, the wound larger than the weapon. Remember, even when God flooded the world, he loved it. You know, people going under sometimes drown, fighting the folks trying to save them. And this, I'm sure, I think everybody knows Silver Spring, famously cut, and then like now it's everybody's favorite because it's the best song on the record. And this one is Lindsey Buckingham. Every seaside town we stumbled, I'd step 1 foot in the ocean and find shipwreck, but Maryland welched on her promise, spoiled omens while we decked our throats in diamonds to distract from old wounds, always cackling, and cackling was always the prologue to storming off without a word, rejoining the table an hour later and lighting a cigarette without a word, slipping out to the aquarium alone without a word. It's good to keep traditions. Somewhere inside me, that stubborn hunger keeps me going like a horse in the home stretch or the dead heat when the odds stay stacked. I've been sneaking down to the tracks, putting all my money on a warm blood named Stevie Kicks. I've lost a Cadillac. Do you get it? If I miss you, that's my fault. When the bartender gave me her number right in front of you, I'd never seen blood rise so quickly. I can't help it if I'm lucky. Scalpel to scar, If I hadn't split, we'd be riding beneath sirens, and not the kind who sing for sailors. I took a walk to watch the horses run their workouts, but my eyes kept wandering to the gardener, his hands swift and tender, likely the only honest man there. I asked him what happens if a horse stops winning, can't earn its keep. Are they put out to pasture? No, he said. We shoot them. And so in the second collection is a bigger one. This is one I've been working on for a while, for like the past 3 years. So May is coming up, and a lot of this takes place in May. May is it's a heavy month for me. I don't want to say difficult because there's good things that happen, but so May 2nd, my best friend committed suicide. May 3rd, my mom drank herself to death. May 10th is Mother's Day, and May 21st, I met my partner. So a lot goes on in May, and May is when the cherry blossoms bloom. And so there's a lot of that is motifs in the book. Also, a lot of, like, my mom dying from alcoholism is important because she died as I was hitting 8 years sober, and I'm gratefully 10 now. And so that a lot of I'm Sicilian, a lot of Catholic guilt comes into that. So the book examines a lot of these relationships through the prism of Catholicism, but kind of restructured with a feminist bent. I uplift Mary Magdalene's story. I kind of forgive Judas in a lot of ways. Judas is a really misunderstood character. I don't want to get into it right now because I'll go off. But like Judas and Mary Magdalene, my mom kind of shows up through them, and a lot of other people. And that's me with cherry blossoms, because the first poem's called Self-Portrait, as the last lingering petal on a cherry blossom. More than the millions of unsung buried in the potter's field off Pelham Bay, more than the estuary where tides fold fresh water into salt water and spit their bones into a knot of krill, mackerel, menhaden, pale glow like a stray moon wandered to the wrong side of the cosmos, slunk in a lost shark's jaws, predators plucked with rising ocean temperatures from the Atlantic and whisked 100 miles down the shoreline. It's the cherry blossoms, orderly bloom in April, unquestioned embrace of death in May, petals strewn like stars stretching so deep into deep space, only astronomers know them by name. That really gets to me. After the gray-haired man draped in paisley, sleeping beneath a straw hat against a Yoshino tree, the little girl hiding behind her mother's wedding gown, cameras flashing, buzzing around the bridal party's pink serene dresses like a honeybee. The flattened cotton candy blossoms are simply swept into a dustbin every year on the day you died. There are tons, and I mean tons, of spent petals scattered across parks, lawns, and ponds, routinely removed and replaced, a broom brandished and taken to task by a botanic garden employee, but a blossom is underfoot, awaiting its own interment when a beloved texts me, made it through another year of that one. We all want to make it somewhere past the point no one thought you'd ever pass, leaving the party at 2 a.m. alone, thank God, a fistful of Valium from the bride. We settle for miracles, walking without wanting, wander in the weeds like the first man to hear a parrot chatter, the bewilderment of a woman who'd never known a note of music, fainting the first time she heard Beethoven. I know it's you inside the light bulb flickering in my kitchen. I keep it humming days on end, marvel at home how much dark you continue to cut through. A cluster of stars pierces fog like teeth in the mouth of a shark. We made this world, devoured everything but the pit. It isn't enough to cook the ocean, trap the raptorial fish. We drag her home and stuff her. Friends take selfies, their heads in her maw, pretend we were never in any danger at all. This is my mom. I know we look alike. It's a big part of the book. This poem is called The Merciless Mirror. When my mother died, the mirror was merciless. I didn't shave for over a year. I made murder ballad playlists. I failed, didn't try to meet friends in parks, gardens, by the ocean. My God, the ocean. There's enough of it to swallow us 10 times over. Maybe more. Maybe it will. If you stand on the right sands, you can even see yourself in its azure swill. I can't always blame the MTA for my botched plans, days, decked purposes. Sometimes I am the maker of my own small calamities. I look into the mirror now, and instead of my dead mother, I see someone dealt some hard years, years that could fold up a box ship. The beard isn't fooling anyone, least myself. Gray hairs wrap around my head now, that's all. When I enter a room without mirrors, I feel lost. Last summer, I stayed in a country house upstate, swaddled by woods. There was a fire pit, bundles of kindling, the kitchen draped in pastels, but no mirror in the bedroom. Each morning, I slunk down the hall into what appeared to be at some point in time past a child's room, extra mum so I wasn't caught creeping over an ash-colored carpet to look at myself above a dollhouse bureau. I looked into the weary but familiar eyes looking back, the dark a little darker beneath than it used to be. But those were ours, all right. A little dark sea, an oil spill. I looked at my mother and I could feel the soil falling over our head. Ma, I swear you wouldn't even know it was me. Still life of my mother, unsure of whether she's waving or drowning inside a descending flock of American robins. It's winter and I struggle still to call a thrush from a finch. I only wonder why they haven't flown somewhere warmer. My mother taught me to love beyond my broken hands, like a soldier who dismantles and reassembles his gun blindfolded. Nothing survived the heat that immersed her, while I continued to stumble through faux pas after faux pas at fussy parties and cocktail hours, shoveling blue deviled eggs down my hatch to hide any trace of cinder. Okay, I'll say it simple. The drink took her, but it didn't take me. The day she was buried, it rained so hard, I thought it a wisecrack from God, the flooding soil, forcing worms and colonies of ants into the grass like shore leave hours on the verge of lapsing. Directly beneath my window, the Q and B trains are either swallowed up or spit out. By the ocean south, or the spectacle of provincial modernity north, where apartments lack balconies and fire escapes rotate seasonally between grilling, sky gazing, garden plants swapped like chess pieces, colder climates collecting more and more marigolds, crowns failing to rise above the sill. What finds a home in you when nothing else will even knock on your door? An American robin, flushed with song, avian emblem of every patch of sky above someone I miss. I'm the last one left alive in this house. I praise only what I understand. The glazed grace of an old man in a living room on fire. The sunk-eyed widow who inherited her husband's habit. The wounds of Mary Magdalene. Winter came early this year. Snow amasses swiftly like spun cotton candy, forcing gutters and awnings to groan. It won't drain through the soil until it's fully melted, but just as briskly and right on time, a warm day in December forces a few insects to take a hike as a descending round of robins cobble their nests together, picking through the ashes for teeth that survive the fire. I was going to read another dead person poem, but I'm going to try to end on a nice note. There's also an arc of like redemptive love in this book. Like I said, I met my girlfriend several weeks after all of that. So I tried to, I didn't try, it just came, but I feel like you can't just do a book with just sad poem after sad poem after. You have to have like some, like life has to have hope, or then what's the point, right? Like Audre Lorde once said, we don't have the right to be hopeless. So I think a lot of hope comes through these poems. This is called St. John of the Cross and the Looming Demise of the Moon. If I were a less predictable man, a man more cynical, steered less by salvation than submission, I'd stomp out every lanternfly, the insect I can't kill even under order, each bloodthirsty stand-up citizen eager to hammer home what we're risking if we let them live. Did you know each year we come closer to losing the moon? Don't bother telling me how distant that day is from now. I don't care. She's moving away an inch and a half with every revolution, and one day she'll be hurled from our orbit and everything everywhere will go black forever. The Southern Cross is the smallest of 88 constellations in our galaxy, but one of the brightest, drawing my gaze past her lunar highness and every other burning speck in the sky. John of the Cross once said, "In the evening of life, we will be judged on love alone." He was captured and imprisoned by a group of Carmelites for disobedience and locked in a cell barely 10 by 6 feet, suffered weekly public lashings, lived on a diet of water, bread, and scraps of saltfish. Each night he'd climb a bench to read his breviary by the light of the moon and write Dark Night of the Soul, a treatise for the phase of purification when God's presence is felt but not yet his hand. Every few months you trudge through some dim, musty basement to witness a violence as sport I cannot indulge, even in all my poetic justice. I am not prim, I am not proper, I do not walk a high road, I just choose love. Yeah, all right, call me obvious, soft, a simpleton. I'll still be at home waiting for you, dreaming of devouring you dimple first, the moon dangling above your magnolia tree out front. I just about scraped through my own dark night of the soul. I bargained for deliverance, and God sent me a lethal dose. Now I need you like that dream burns gasoline. We build trust and trade clothes, get beautifully bored in your family home. You can raise me down to nothing with so little effort. The part I like best is when I let you. The part I pray for is when you stay. We step out to look up at the moon, bright and brassy, cutworms and crickets sprawled on your sidewalk in all its glowing glory. When you press your lips to my lobe and whisper, I can't kill them, but they'll destroy the whole yard. That's all I got. Thank you, guys. Was that too sad for y'all?
No, not too sad.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Dr. George?
I do. I don't think we have any right. If we do, what are we here for? If we don't have hope, why are we here? And it's like, it's not only like we don't have it like for our own, like for ourselves, but for people who are less fortunate and folks who are marginalized and being oppressed. What right do we have to be, it's so selfish to be hopeless. Like, hope is so important. It's like, would any of you be creating anything if you were hopeless? No, the fact that you're creating anything means that you're hopeful, that you have at least some scrap of hope, or that you're trying to dredge up some scrap of hope. That's the evidence is right here, you know. Thank you.
One thing to say, in Pandora's box, is myth that it's open and all the evils, like famine, fever, evil, get released into the world. The last item in Pandora's box is hope. Why do you think that would be in Pandora's box?
Because even the thing is, like, even what, like, I know I don't want to get like gaudy on everybody, but like, God doesn't give you what you can't handle, right? I believe in a more forgiving God than a lot of people give. My relationship with God, like, actually, my faith actually rests on doubt, because my faith wouldn't exist without doubt. It would exist against no dominion. You know what I mean? So I think if, like, there's nothing in this world that is completely hopeless, and there's nothing in this world that's completely hopeful. Like, like everything else, it's a spectrum. Binaries are a lie. So I think hope being something that trickles in after all of the mayhem, it's like, because, wow, we need that. Like we need. It's like when you're going through a hard time in your life, there's always like that one thing, right? Every time where it's like, I would have been done without that. It was like my friend that line about we made it through another year with that one. That was a very good friend of mine who was my mutual friend with my friend who took his own life. And after that day, he was like, we got through that. And it's like, that's why after that I talk about like the woman hearing Beethoven for the first time, because it's because hope is going to come, but it's not going to be what you summon or how you expect it to. It's going to come in its own way every time. That's just, it's almost like physics in a way. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank you guys.